All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Harakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. And I want to start out the book of Acts, chapter 6, verse 1. And I'm going to start off by reading the King James Version, and then we can go on to the New King James Version. All right, so verse 1, it says, "In those days, when the number of the disciples was multiplied, there arose a murmuring of the Grecians against the Hebrews, because their widows were neglected in the daily ministration." So who might these Grecians be? All right, now, so-called Christians would like to apply this to themselves and say, well, these Grecians, Salakia, they have to be, of a Greek people and of a Greek people that go back to the line of Edomites. All right, so-called white people, to put it on a base level. And this is what they say. So they use scriptures like this to apply themselves, in the scriptures. Okay, as far as, being joined, to the faith. Okay. But the point is, who might these Grecians be? Who are these Grecians speaking of? Who are these people being called Grecians? Okay, so let's go into this word. So as you see of the Grecians, it gives you what word? Hellenistas.
Strong's G 1675. Hellenistes. Hellenistes.
You see? So now, let's I wanted to get the definition of it. So as you see, it's Hellenistes. Okay, it says a Hellenist, right? A Hellenist, one who imitates the manners and customs or the worship of the Greeks and use the Greek tongue. Used in the New Testament of Jews. Of who? Of Jews born in foreign lands and speaking Greek. You see? So the so-called white man knows who these Grecians are speaking of. He knows that these are Jews that took on the Greek customs, that spoke the Greek tongue. He knows this information. Okay? And this is why when you read here in Acts 6, verse 1, and in the New King James Version, that gives you a more clear, definition. It says, "Now in these days, when the number of the disciples was multiplying, there arose a complaint against the Hebrews by the Hellenists." You see? So he could easily just put Hellenists there. Okay? Now, another book that they have put together, the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary, when you go into the word Hellenist, okay, or Hellenistas, it says, Jews who made Greek their tongue, and with it often adopted Greek ideas and practices. And it gives you the chapter, Acts 6, verse 1, and also 9, right? Acts 9 and 29. Let's go down. And it says, let's start our verse 26. It says, "And when Saul came to Jerusalem, he essayed to join himself to the disciples, but they were all afraid of him and believed not that he was a disciple. But Barnabas took him and brought him to the apostles and declared unto them how he had seen the Lord in the way, and that he had spoken to him, and how he had preached boldly at Damascus in the name of Yahushai." It says Jesus here, but we know the name of the Lord is Yahushai. And that's because Paul, beforehand, he was what? He was persecuting the church. Okay. Verse 28, it says, "And he was with them coming in and out of Jerusalem. And he spake boldly in the name of the Lord Yahushai, and disputed against the Grecians, but they went about to slay him." Let's go to the New King James Version of verse 29. And he spoke boldly in the name of the Lord Yahushai and disputed against the Hellenists, but they attempted to kill him. Let's go to this word again. Hellenistas. Let's read it one more time. A Hellenist, one who imitates the manners and customs or the worship of the Greeks and used the Greek tongue, used in the New Testament of Jews born in foreign lands and speaking Greek. Okay? Going down further, Hellenistas, a Hellenist or Greek-speaking Jew, Grecian. Okay? So there's your answer right there. Okay? These Hellenists, these Grecians, these Greeks, they're Jews. Okay? They were either Jews in foreign lands and speaking Greek. Okay? This is what they were doing, the Hellenistas. Okay? You have a whole era of a Hellenization period that happened to who? The Israelites, which made them come what? Gentiles. Okay? Gentiles. Okay, you had a whole bunch of Israelites that took on what? A Gentile way of life. Okay, when you start to imitate the customs, you start to imitate the language of something that is foreign to yours, something that is strange to yours, you start to worship their idols. Okay? That is an example of you being what? A Gentile, or being in the Gentile state of mind. You see? So these are who the Grecians are speaking of. Okay? So let's go into a little bit of history. Just hit the point. So it says, the Hellenization of the Jews between 334 BC and 70 AD. Let's see if I can get it bigger. All right? So it says the period of the Jewish history, right? Or it should really say the history of the Jews. Okay? Extending from Alexander the Great to Jesus is one for which our sources of information are fragmentary, especially as regards the contact of Jew and Greek. Let's hold on, let's see. I'm gonna look at the fragmentary. I'm gonna look at this word real quick. Fragmentary, consisting of small parts that are disconnected or incomplete. Excavations have revealed fragmentary remains of masonry. Okay, so it says broken, disconnected, incomplete, fragmentary evidence, fragmentary remains. So it's consisting of small parts that are disconnected or incomplete. All right, so let's go back. That's what that word means. So it says the period of the history of the Jews extending from Alexander the Great to Jesus is one for which our sources of information are fragmentary, right? So it means incomplete. This is what they're saying, especially as regards the contact of Jew and Greek, right? But, not to us, because when you got the KJV 1611, everything is complete. So we understand why it mentions in the scriptures there is neither Jew nor Greek. Okay, because those Greeks that it's speaking of they're Israelites. They're Israelites. Okay? It says this fact is all more regrettable because the impact of Greek civilization on the Jews, which then took place, gave to the period of an importance that almost ranks it with the period of great prophets, or with that of Moses in the beginning of the Hebrew state. An attempt will be made to present in this article the sifted testimony of the ancient sources regarding the Hellenization of the Jews prior to the composition of the New Testament. And that's all I'm going to read on that because, as you see, there's 21 pages. Okay? Because when you jump to the New Testament, we're already dealing dealing in where or under who? The Romans. Okay, when the Lord came on the scene, when the Lord was born, it was already under the Romans, tributary to the Romans. Okay, so what happened in between that time? Okay, before we got to the under the Romans, we were under the Greeks. Okay, we were under the Greeks, and we could prove that in the Bible as it went on to this state. Who? Alexander the Great, right? We've seen it just mention Alexander the Great, correct? Let's see what the Bible says. See what the Bible mentions Alexander the Great. The book of 1 Maccabees 1, verse 1, it says, "And it happened after Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonia, came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians, and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece." You see? Verse 7. So Alexander, who is this Alexander? This is Alexander the Great. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died. And his servants bare rule, everyone in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves, so that their sons after them, many years and evils were multiplied in the earth. Because after Alexander, 4 generals came up to rule. Okay, I believe it was what's his name? Oh man, I forgot her name. I think it was Ptolemy, Seleucus, Lacomaceus. I think it's Cassander, right? Or I'm missing one, or I got it backwards, okay? But furthermore, it was 4 generals that came up to rule after Alexander the Great. Okay, so verse 10, it says, "And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus or Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus, the king, who had been an hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks." Okay, and these are Edomites. This line goes back to Edomites. Okay, "In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein, that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the customs of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief." So what you are witnessing, or what we are reading, is you're reading that Israelites are conforming to the ways of the Greeks, conforming to the ways of life of the Gentiles. Okay, this is how they are becoming Gentiles. This is how they are becoming strange. Okay, because of what they have forsook the Holy Covenant and joined themselves to the heathen. Right. So imagine that, what happened after this when they had children, and when their children had children, and so forth and so on. Then they are being brought up in the customs of the Greeks. So now what? They are strange to the Commonwealth of Israel. They would have become strangers. Okay? Now you had Jews in different lands, okay, that was coming back to keep the high holy days, as reading the book of Acts chapter 2. Okay, but you had some that just was just like, nah, we're following this. This is our new way of life. You see, so this is what you're reading. You're reading Israelites conform to this new way of life. Okay, so let's jump up further now. Try to make the points. So, 1 Maccabees 1 verse 41, it says, "And moreover, King Antiochus or Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols, and profaned the Sabbath. For the king had sent letters and messengers into Jerusalem and cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange law of the land, and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbath days and festival days. right? And pollute in the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars and groves and chapels to idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts. That they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable and man with all manner of uncleanness and a profanation. Okay, a profanation. Okay. So this is what you're saying. Okay, as the king made a commandment that, look, man, you know everyone has to keep our laws. Okay, we the king, we running things now. Everyone needs to do things our way, right? Verse 49, to the end that they might forget the law and change all the ordinances, and whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said should die. Okay, you see that? So this is what went on. All right. Now, let me see. Profess. Yep. Check this out. Second Maccabees 6 verse 6, it says, neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. Look at that, man. You see, let's read that again. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. You see, so you couldn't even profess yourself to be a Jew. So what were they ending up calling themselves? Greeks. Okay. So this is the reason why you get these, these different titles, that's being mentioned in the scriptures of Israelites being called Greeks, Grecians, as you would see in other words in different scriptures, Hellenist. Why? Because they were Hellenized during the Hellenization period. This is what we were just reading in the book of First Maccabees. Okay, the period of Hellenization. All right. Matter of fact, let's pull up another one. What is Hellenization? All right. Hellenization or Hellenism refers to a spread of Greek culture and had begun after the conquest of Alexander the Great in the 4th century BCE. One must think of the development of Eastern Mediterranean really in two major phases. So this is what's going on. We just read this history in the book of First Maccabees. Okay. And it was really, pushed heavily through Antiochus, that wicked root. Okay. Which he was an Edomite. All right, so with all this happening, this is what you see of I may go into this later. That you were seeing of the reason why these people are being called Greeks in the scriptures. Okay, so you see that taking place. You see, the Hellenistic period is a part of ancient period for the European and Near Asian space. The use of this period is justified by the extent of the Hellenic culture in most of these areas due to the Greek political presence, especially in Asia after Alexander's conquest, but also in a new wave of Greek colonization. And the consequence, the Hellenistic period is usually accepted between 323 BC with Alexander's death and ends in 31 BC with the conquest of the last Hellenistic kingdom by Rome. Okay, and you see the areas all up here. Oh yeah, there we go. The names, it was Antagonist, Ptolemaeus, I forgot you said that word. Lydemachus, I believe. And I forget, I can't see the other one. Forget. All right, but that's the point. Okay, so the Hellenistic period. So you come across scriptures like, let's do some more. Greek. Look at that. So let's go to the book of Romans. Oh, come on, man. All right, so book of Romans 10. All right, book of Romans chapter 10, verse 12, it says, "For there is no difference between the Jew and the Greek, for the same over all is rich unto all that call upon him." Let's see if we can see something real fast. Let's see what this one says. All right, for there is no difference between Jew and Gentile. The same Lord is Lord of all and richly blesses all who call on him. Right? But these are all Israelites. That's why it says there's no difference, because they're all Israelites. Even though it says Gentile, we just read how these people became strangers, how they became, not these people, but these Israelites became strangers. Okay, how they became Gentiles, how they became heathen. Okay, and Gentile in the mind, though. Okay, Gentile in the mind, not Gentile by, blood. When you go to this word, Jew and Greek, go to this word, is what? Helen. Look at that, Helen. Right? So this definition they give, they say Greek either by nationality, whether a native of the mainland or Greek islands or colonies. In the wider sense, name embraces all nations, not Jews, that made the language, customs, and learning of the Greeks their own. Primarily, reference is the difference of religion and worship, right? But then you go back to the Hellen, it goes to the word Grecian, you see, or inhabitant of the Hellas, right? But when we just read Grecian, okay, it gave you the definition of what? Hellenistas. Okay, so who was Hellenized? When you go into that word Helen, who was Hellenized? The Israelites, they were Hellenized. That's what the whole Hellenization period was about. So it wouldn't be in a wider sense of the name embraces all nations, not Jews. That doesn't even make sense. They say a Greek embraces all nations, not Jews. How? How would that be so? All nations wouldn't go back to, let's use this example of where they're trying to put it. Okay? How can the Greeks, right, by blood or by nationality, okay, which are the so-called white people that have took on the Greek, that Greek heritage and Greek name, because the true Greeks go back to the descendants of Japhetic people, but, it's going to be too high for some of y'all right now. How would that embrace all nations when there's 18 nations of people? 18 nations of people. How would just that Greek term fit on all nations? See, that doesn't even make sense itself. You see? So yes, it was Jews that made the language and customs and learning of the Greeks their own. That's what it was. Because it's not talking about other nations. Okay? Now it says Greek either by nationality. It wouldn't be nationality, because the Jews, right, that made Greek their tongue, their nationality are what? Israelites. Because every Jew is an Israelite by blood. You see? Now they became native to the mainland of the Greek islands and colonies. The Jews have became native of the mainland or the Greek islands or colonies. They have done that. Okay, you have Jews that done that lived in a foreign land that were considered, that's why they were considered strangers. That's why they were considered foreigners. Okay? That's why they were considered heathen. That's why they're considered Gentiles. That's why the Jews of the circumcision looked at these people of the uncircumcision, which were still Israelites, as what? Heathen. Gentiles. Greeks. You got to imagine the things that they were wearing, the things that they were doing, eating, all those different customs. You had the Jews in the Holy Land like, oh no, I can't, fellowship with y'all. I can't get down with y'all. Y'all heathen. Y'all act just like heathen. But through history, they knew these were Israelites that left off from their true heritage. Okay? So look at that's what I'm saying. Look at it. They try to, that's why you got to understand these things, because they try to get you. You see, look at they give you a Hellen, Grecian, But we just read the Grecian and gave you the definition. That was Hellenistas. Okay? So these Gentiles, these Greeks, right? These Hellenes, that's what it's giving you for definition it's giving you for Romans 10 and 12. Okay? These are Israelites. So that's why there's no difference between them. Okay? That's why there's no difference. I mean, and it's easy to understand. Okay? But, the point is made. Who are the Grecians in Acts, the 6th chapter? These are Israelites. Shalom.